لا ما عاد يرعبني ظلم يهددني لا شيء أخسره لا لا مهما يطول الدرب فالحق معه.
We begin with Allah's blessed name. We praise Him and we glorify Him as He ought to be praised and glorified. And we pray for peace and for blessings on all His noble messengers, and in particular on the last of them all, the blessed Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. My brothers and sisters, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our subject is the Quran and the moon, methodology for recitation of the Quran, and we want to begin with an event which occurred in the lifetime of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Some of his companions were traveling in the desert, and it was evening time, and they came across a tribe which was still worshipping the idols. So they stopped. They expected to get some hospitality, but this tribe did not like this new religion, and so they offered no hospitality. So we settled down to spend the night, and in the middle of the night someone from the tribe came and said, "Brothers, wake up, wake up. Our chief has been bitten with a snake, by a snake, and we have no medicine. And if we do not treat him, he'll be dead by tomorrow morning. Do you have anything in your religion to help us?" So we said, "Well, since you offered no hospitality, you're going to have to pay." They said, "How much?" We said, 100 sheep. They said, "Deal." Then one of the Muslims went to the chief, recited Suratul Fatiha and blew on him, and he was cured. So we collected the sheep and we returned to Medina, and we went to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam and said, "O Messenger of Allah, this is what happened. Can we keep the sheep? Can we keep the sheep?" He said, "Yes, people have been rewarded for less than this." "How did you know that there is ru'ya?" Ru'ya, spiritual healing. "How did you know that there is ru'ya in Suratul Fatiha?" And then he went on to say something that every Muslim already knows. I just have to remind you. He said that there is a cure in Suratul Fatiha for every disease. And the question that we ask is, what went wrong? That at that time he could recite Suratul Fatiha and blow, and the man was cured. And today we recite and we blow and we blow and we blow and nothing happens. What's the difference between that time and this time? That we can recite Suratul Fatiha and blow and blow and blow and nothing happens. What's the difference? This is the importance of today's subject. The Quran and the moon, methodology for recitation of the Quran. And this subject has a follow-up subject, and that is entitled The Quran and the Stars, methodology for study of the Quran. And that book is already written. I have it outside. And this book on the moon, I just finished it today. The first draft was finished today here in London. The Quran and the moon, methodology for the study of the Quran. It's 98 pages, but when I finish the second and third draft, it'll probably be more than 100 pages. And we begin by asking a question. The books which came before the Quran, Allah gave them names. That one was called the Torah. This one was called the Zabur, that one was called the Gospel or the Injil. Why does this one not have a similar name? What's the difference? Why is this one called a recitation? Why is this one given the name a recitation, Quran? And why is it that the very first revelation that comes down tells us to recite? Iqra, recite, bi'ismi rabbik, with the name of your Rabb. Clearly, the obvious answer to that question is that we have a primary obligation to recite this book. That's the first thing we have to do. That is the answer to the question. We have to recite this book. No other book that came from Allah, none ever had this status. Only this one. So clearly the recitation of this book has a role to play in history, particularly in Akhirul Zaman. I'm talking about the recitation. I'm not talking as yet about the study of the book. I'm talking about the recitation of the book. It has a role to play, particularly in the end time, because this is the last book from Allah. If you do not recite this book, therefore, how can you study the book? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us something about the method of studying the book. They don't like to hear this in Washington and London and Paris and in Jerusalem. The arrogant, godless world that is waging war on this book. They don't like it. He speaks in Surah Al-Waqiyah, and this is what he has to say. And listen to the last words. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. فلا أقسم بمواقع النجوم, and I take an oath by the positions in which the stars are located. وَإِنَّهُ لَقَسَمٌ لَوْ تَعْلَمُونَ عَظِيمٌ, and this is the mother of all oaths. This is an oath or a qasam of supreme importance. وَإِنَّهُ لَقَسَمٌ لَوْ تَعْلَمُونَ عَظِيمٌ إِنَّهُ لَقُرْآنٌ كَرِيمٌ في كتاب مكنون. This is a noble and a generous recitation which is located in a book. This is a noble and a generous recitation which is located in a book which is protected. So what's the message? Answer: that you cannot study this book other than the way you study the stars. You have to study the connection between this star and that one, and that star and that one. That's the way you study this book. And now listen to the last piece. لا يمسه إلا المطهرون. You believe with your PhD from Oxford, you could study this book? Or your PhD from Temple University, you could study this book? All the think tanks in Washington, you think you could study this book? Allah says, لا يمسه إلا المطهرون. You cannot even touch this book, Allah is saying, much less to study it. You can't even touch it, much less to study it. This is not physical touch. This is not ayah muhkama. This is ayah mutashabiha. Unless you are pure and clean in the heart. And purity, insofar as this book is concerned, is that you must have faith in the book and you must be faithful to the book. You can't say, no, I can't say what is in this book. They will call me a terrorist. They will put my name on a no-fly list. My business might collapse. I came to Britain for money. I didn't come to Britain for Islam. I can't do that. Your heart is unclean. That's right. And if your heart is unclean, you cannot study this Quran. You can't even touch it. And so this book has a role to play. You think Pakistan could get out of the mess in which it is with a PhD from Oxford? Only the Quran can take Pakistan out of the mess with a capital F, mess with it. Only the Quran. And who will study the Quran? To take the guidance of the Quran out of the Quran, it will be those who are reciting the Quran in order to study the Quran. So now let us begin with Allah's blessed name. Surah Al-Qiyamah of the Quran. And this is what Allah says. وَإِذَا قَرَأْنَاهُ فَاتَّبِعْ قُرْآنَهُ. And when it is the first person plural, but I will use the first person singular, so it'll hit harder. When I have recited the Quran, you must follow that way of recitation. This is in the Quran. When I have recited the Quran, you must follow that way of recitation. What is that way of recitation? We have to recite it that way. And if we recite it the way that Allah recited it, what will the Quran do for us? Can it change our hearts so that we can recite Surah Al-Fatiha and blow and he's cured? Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam prophesied as only a prophet could prophesy. Not even a British Prime Minister can do it. He said, in Akhir Zaman, the time will move faster and yet faster. A whole year will pass and it would appear to be like a month. And a whole month would pass and it would appear to have been like a week, and a whole week like a day, and a whole day like an hour, and a whole hour like the amount of time it takes to kindle a fire. Time will move faster and faster. I'm not going to ask you to put your hands up. First time in this masjid, so we're not friends as yet. We have to get to know each other before I can ask questions. But wherever I go in the world and I ask people, Mombasa, I asked them, everybody put their hands up, everybody. Yes, we are perceiving time moving fast. I was in Newport about a week ago. Put your hands up, everybody except the Imam. So I said, mashallah, at least you, and then the Imam put his hand up. Everybody perceived time moving faster. I also used to perceive time moving faster until I started reciting the Quran the way it ought to be recited. And now, alhamdulillah, time no longer moves faster for me. I can't be telling a lie about my own heart. This is what the Quran can do for you. Why are you perceiving time moving faster and faster? Answer. If you want to recite Surah Al-Fatiha and blow, and it would hear, the recitation has to pass from here, which is lunar time, not solar time. It has to go to cosmic time and reach the Arsh, which is absolute time. And these three worlds of time are interconnected with each other with a mizan or a balance. And if you recite the Quran as it ought to be recited, the Quran will bring you back to lunar time. And that's a good start for you to move from lunar time to cosmic time to absolute time, and he is cured. But Dajjal has taken all of us. It makes no difference whether you're Brelvi or Deobandi or Salafi or Tabligh or this or that or the other. He's taken all of us for a ride. And all of us have this perception that time is moving faster and faster. But if you recite the Quran as it ought to be recited, then you no longer perceive time moving faster and faster. And your heart will now be in harmony with the system of time operating all through Allah's creation. So now we want to recite the Quran as Allah has ordained that it must be recited. When did he recite the Quran? وَإِذَا قَرَأْنَاهُ فَاتَّبِعْ قُرْآنَ. When I have recited it, you must follow that way of recitation. When did Allah recite the Quran? Answer. All through the year it was Jibreel alayhi salam who came with revelation, wahi. And it came to the heart of Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. But now in Ramadan is different. In Ramadan the angel comes to recite the Quran. It is Allah who is reciting. And he's reciting through the angel Jibreel alayhi salam. The angel Gabriel recites. And Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam is listening, and then he would have to recite. This is the way that Allah recited the Quran. And he recited the whole Quran in Ramadan. I used to say that the angel recited the Quran as revealed up to that time. Now I no longer say that. Now I have to say he recited the Quran. He recited the whole Quran. And he finished the recitation of the whole Quran in Ramadan. So he started when the month of Ramadan commenced. When does the month of Ramadan begin? Allah says, وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْأَهِلَّةِ. And they question thee about the hilal, the crescent moon. قُلْ هِيَ مَوَاقِيتُ لِلنَّاسِ وَالْحَجِّ. That crescent moon is there. Allah put it there so that you would use that crescent moon to determine when the month begins. And with that crescent moon, you will determine your system of time with which you measure time. And with this system of time, a month will complete itself when the new moon is seen. So our Prophet said, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, And praise be to Allah that he said it. He did his hands like this. And he said, we are an unlettered people. And a month comprised of this, and he showed 10, and then this, and he showed another 10, and then this, and he showed another 10. Except that on the 29th day of the month, when the 29th day has come to an end, we will then look for the moon. And if it is seen, the month would have ended. And if it is not seen, then the month will have one more day. Praise be to Allah, praise be to Allah, praise be to Allah, who gave us this system of time. Dajjal is tremendously annoyed. Dajjal is going crazy. He needs a system of time which can be universalized. Did you hear that? Dajjal, in order to rule the world from Jerusalem and eventually declare, I am the Messiah, he has to create one global society. One world order. All of mankind interconnected in one global society. They call it globalization. And so he needs to globalize the political system. He's done that already. He needs to globalize the economy, one global economy. He's already done that. He needs to globalize the monetary system. He's already done that while we were eating our biryani and going home and sleep. Incapable of recognizing the money that we are using is bogus and fraudulent and haram. That is the state of the Ummah of Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam today. While there is a boxing match, this sect against that sect, in this stupid boxing match, and yet incapable of recognizing you're being taken for a ride. That's why Pakistan is where it is today. Yes, in a mess. He's globalized the monetary system, but he needs a global system of time in which everything will operate like clockwork, like the trains in Switzerland. And so financial transactions can take place all around the globe at the touch of a button. Without a globalized system of time, you cannot do it. And so Dajjal is frustrated, absolutely frustrated, as the traitors who rule over Saudi Arabia are also frustrated. How can we deal with a system of time in which we have to wait until the 29th day has ended before we can know whether the month will now end or whether the month will have one more day? What kind of a system of time is this? Alhamdulillah that Allah has given us this system of time. But the schoolboys don't understand that. But they will understand it one day in the grave, oh yes. One day they will understand it in the grave. This is my warning to them. Allah has deliberately given us lunar time to frustrate Dajjal. And so Ramadan begins when the moon is sighted. And Ramadan will end when the 29th day has ended. And if we see the moon. But if we don't, then Ramadan will have one more day. 30 days. So he said 10 and 10 and 10. So the angel would be reciting one juz every day to complete the whole Quran in Ramadan. The Iranians use the word sipara, or shortened form is para. But the Arabs use the word juz. And so there will be 30 ajza, or 30 siparas of the Quran, so that you recite one sipara or one juz every day in order to complete the recitation of the whole Quran in Ramadan. I'm not going to ask you, did you recite the whole Quran in Ramadan, last Ramadan? I'm not going to ask you. But when we begin to recite the Quran, we are confronted with a serious problem. Why did Allah begin the Quran with the longest surahs? And the longest one of all is at the beginning. Surah Al-Baqarah, 286 verses. And then Surah Al-Imran, a long surah. And then Surah Al-Nisa, a long surah. And then Surah Al-Ma'idah, long. And then Surah Al-An'am, long. And Surah Al-Araf, long surahs. And at the end of the Quran, he gives us short surahs. Is this connected with methodology of study? Can this have any relevance to the way we study the Quran? No, not possible. So then why is the longest surah of the Quran at the beginning? It couldn't have anything to do with the content of the surah. Our answer is that Allah has put it there to test us. That's why. To test us. He says in Surah Al-Isra, he says, Qur'anan faraknahu litakra'ahu 'ala an-nas 'ala muksin. He says, I have built the walls. I have built the walls to separate the Quran. A surah is a wall, surah is a wall. And I am the one to build the walls, not you. You don't have the authority to build walls, I build the walls. Will we do that? Will we start also building walls in the Quran? Will we also start to separate the Quran differently from the way that Allah has separated it? Qur'anan faraknahu. We have separated it. Let's go to Surah Al-Hijr. And Allah says, Qul, O Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, tell them, Inni ana an-nazir mubin. Tell them that I am a warner, and I warn in a manner which is plain and clear, no ambiguity at all. What is the warning? كما أنزلنا على المقتسمين. Here's the warning that I am sending down to the muqtasimin. Who are the muqtasimin? الذين جعلوا القرآن عِدِّينَ. They are those who break up the Quran into bits and pieces. They are those who cut up the Quran, they chop it up, they build their own walls in the Quran. And what will Allah do to them? Listen to what He says. فَوَرَبِّكَ فَوَرَبِّكَ O Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, I swear by your Lord, فَوَرَبِّكَ لَنَسْأَلَنَّهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ بِمَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. I will question them all, every single one of them, for what they have done to this Quran. So now he gives us the longest surah of all at the beginning to test us. Will we respect the wall that he built, or will we chop the Quran with our own walls? The question is, which is the first juz to be recited? And our audience here, we have a thinking mind. We don't have to consult this mufti or that mufti. You have the capacity to think. You don't need anybody else to think. Which is the first juz to be recited on the first day when you see the moon? If we are prohibited from breaking up the Quran into bits and pieces, Allah is testing us. The answer is that on the first day when you see the moon, you have to recite the whole of Surah Al-Baqarah. That is the test from Allah. But every single copy of the Quran today, illa mashallah, everywhere in the world, when you look at it, at the top you see Juz Awwal, and Juz Thani, and Juz Thalith. And when we ask, who gave us these ajda? Nobody knows. Whoever did it, did something monstrously sinful when he built a wall of his own. At verse 141 of Surah Al-Baqarah, he says first juz. And then he built a second wall in Surah Al-Baqarah 252. He says second juz. Already, you can build walls that Allah did not build in the Quran. Wait and see what Allah will do with you. And so the first juz is not that way. The first juz is the whole of Surah Al-Baqarah. But if you feel that he was correct and you want to recite the Quran that way, go ahead and see whether or not your heart will change. See whether or not you can get rid of the perception that time is moving faster and faster. See if one day you can recite Surah Al-Fatiha and blow and anything happens. Go ahead, if you don't accept what we say. The second reason why he gave us this long surah at the beginning of the Quran is because he wants us to live with the moon. That's right. When the moon is young and the month is young, he wants us to be young. He wants us to summon all our strength and all our resources and give the best effort by reciting the whole of Surah Al-Baqarah on the first day. And when the moon is old and the month is old and you're tired, he gives you short surahs. Short surahs at the end of the Quran. This is the divine wisdom. Try it out and see. And so on the first day we recite Surah Al-Baqarah. It takes some effort. And on the second day we recite Surah Ali Imran. It takes some effort. But if you have not learned how to recite the Quran as yet, never mind. If you've never been reciting the Quran all your life, never mind, start. You might take a long time to recite the whole Quran. Not 1 month, you might take 3-4 months. Never mind. Allah is kind. When you finish, you must start again. And the second time it'll be easier. And when you finish, start again. And the third time will be easier. Until eventually you can recite the whole Quran in 1 month. But you don't start this in your old age. This must start when the child is 7 years of age. That's education in Islam. They have their own system of education, we have ours. That the child by the age of 7 should be able to recite any passage in the Quran. A child at the age of 7 has an enormous memory. And by the age of 10, that child should be able to recite the whole Quran from cover and cover. Some of them have memorized the whole Quran. A child at that age has an enormous memory. Not yet the capacity to think, but the memory. And memory is connected with intelligence. And memory is connected with the capacity to think. And memory is connected with the imagination. And memory is connected with intuitive thought. All of these things. And so never mind if you don't know how to recite, learn to recite. And finish, no matter how long it takes. And then you start again. But for those who can recite the Quran, on the first day, Surah Al-Baqarah, and on the second day, Surah Al-Imran, and on the third day, Surah Al-Nisa, and on the fourth day, Surah Al-Ma'idah, and on the fifth day, Surah Al-An'am, and on the sixth day, Surah Al-A'raf. But when we come to the seventh day, Allah stops us. He says about the moon, قَدَّرْنَاهُ مَنَازِلِ قَدَّرْنَاهُ مَنَازِلِ, that I have ordained for the moon stages of growth and stages of decline. And we have to be conscious of those manazil. Manzil number 1, manzil number 2, manzil number 3, and so on. So here's the first manzil in the manazil on the 7th day. He stops us. What does he do to stop us? He uses Surah Al-Anfal to stop us. Surah Al-Anfal is unusually short. All the other surahs are so long. And the surah after Surah Al-Anfal is again long, Surah At-Tawbah. So why is Surah Al-Anfal so short? We need an answer. That's why Allah stops us. And He says that He sent the Quran لِقَوْمِ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ, to people who think. And I am in Britain. I live in the Caribbean island of Trinidad. I was educated in Pakistan and Switzerland. But I'm in Britain now on short visits. I only spend 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and I leave. To invite you to think. That's all. To think. Because I'm conscious that Dr. Muhammad Iqbal, a famous scholar from India and before Pakistan was born, I have great respect for him. He was not the product of a Darul Uloom. He was not the product of a Darul Uloom. A Darul Uloom could not produce him. You know what he said? He said, this Ummah stopped thinking 500 years ago. And I agree with him. Oh yes, I agree with him. So I'm here to invite you to think, that's all. I don't know why they closed the doors of the masjid to me. Because I asked you to think. On the 7th day, He stops us. He stops us with Surah Al-Anfal, which is unusually short. And we ask the question, why is it so short? Is it by accident? No. Nothing is by accident in this Quran. And not only is Surah Al-Anfal short, but more than that. The surah which comes after Al-Anfal, Surah At-Tawbah does not have Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim at the beginning. Every surah of the Quran begins with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Since there are 114 surahs, there should be 114 Bismillahs. But we are conscious that one surah, Surah An-Naml, has Bismillah twice. You know, Sulaiman alayhi salam wrote the letter, you know it. Huh? Good. So twice. So then one surah has to be without Bismillah. This is the easy, even a schoolboy knows this. But the question is, why do you choose Surah At-Tawbah? Why not some other surah? Is this by accident? Our answer is, first of all, that Allah stops us on the seventh day. Because He wants us to reflect in our hearts that this heart must be reflecting over the fact that Allah created the samawat and the ard, the samawat and the earth, the material universe, in 6 days. ثم استوى على العرش. And then after creating everything in 6 days, istawa ala al-arsh. He was established on the arsh. I don't know what language to use, I don't know. Istawa ala al-arsh. It is impossibly difficult. Istawa ala al-arsh. So this is the Arabic, istawa ala al-arsh. He wants us to be conscious of this. This must be in the heart. If this heart is to return to the system of time that Allah has created for us, then on the seventh day the heart must return to this. And He says it in the Quran 6 times. So He created the samawat and the ard. ثم استوى على العرش. The ard or the earth will have the moon, therefore lunar time. Lunar time. Let me repeat it one more time. Lunar time. The samawat, so cosmic time. And the cosmic time, one day could be like 1,000 years in your counting. Cosmic time. ثم استوى على العرش, and therefore absolute time. لا تسبوا الدهر فإني أنا الدهر. I am time, says Allah. I am time. So absolute time. Absolute time, therefore, is at the arsh. And so when you recite Surah Al-Fatiha, it has to be recited in cosmic time. Not the time that comes from a Roman Catholic Pope in the Vatican, or from this godless modern Western civilization. It is the time which comes from the moon, lunar time. And that recitation has to move from lunar time to cosmic time. And that's why there are 7 ayat in Surah Al-Fatiha, because there are 7 samawat. And that recitation has to reach absolute time at the arsh. And then you blow. And then he was cured. That's why cosmic time is so important. And lunar time is so important. And on the 7th day he stops us for this reason. The Christians and the Jews have a Sharia, that on the 7th day they have something known as Yawm al-Sabt, the Sabbath day. And on this day they cannot work, they have to rest and they have to pray. We don't have it. We have Yawm al-Jum'ah. And Allah says specifically, when you are finished with the Salatul Jummah, get back to work. So He denied us a Yawmus Sabt. And He gave to them a Yawmus Sabt. And I say to them, I'm jealous of you all. I'm jealous that you have the Sabbath and we don't have it. But there's a second reason why He stopped us on the seventh day with Surah Al-Anfal and with Surah Al-Tawbah, which does not have Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And the answer is that He wants us to join these two surahs for our Jews for the seventh day. And Allah knows best. He wants us to join these two surahs as our Jews on the seventh day, and Allah knows best. When we give an opinion, when we offer an interpretation of the Quran, only Allah can confirm that it is correct. And so we must be careful to say, Allah knows best. If it is the truth, it will survive. They can close the doors of the masjid if they want. It will make no difference. It will survive. And if it is false, it will disappear. And so on the 8th day of the month, we now recite Surah Yunus and Surah Hud. And on the 9th day, Surah Yusuf and Surah Ra'd, which is today. Which was today. And on the 10th day, Surah Ibrahim and Surah Hijr, which is tomorrow, tonight and tomorrow. This is Rabiul Awwal. As you recite the Quran this way, you are conscious of every single day of the month, the lunar month. You will not forget. You forget January and February, but you will not forget this one. Because every day of the lunar month is locked with a surah of the Quran or two surahs of the Quran. And when the 11th day comes, manazil, another manzil, Allah stops us on the 11th day. Why? Because He did this. 10, 10, 10. So when the 11th day comes, we know that the first 10 now finish. 1/3 of the moon is gone. 1/3 of the month is gone. And that's why on the 11th day, He did something strange. On the 7th, we had 2 surahs. On the 8th, we had 2. On the 9th, we had 2. On the 10th, we had 2. But on the 11th day, He gives us Surah An-Nahl, which is a long surah, indicating that on the 11th day, to mark 1/3 is now gone, we return to only one surah, An-Nahl. And as we recite An-Nahl, the heart is conscious. 1/3 is gone. 2/3 now remains. But there's another reason why He gives us An-Nahl so long. The answer is that the next 2 surahs are sisters to each other. Surah Al-Isra and Surah Al-Kahf. Surah Al-Kahf is the surah of Akhir Zaman, par excellence, as they say in French. This is the surah of Akhir Zaman, Surah Al-Kahf. This is the surah you recite for protection from Dajjal, the first 10 ayah. This is the surah which introduces the subject of Gog and Magog. Schoolboy doesn't know that, of course. But you cannot study Surah Al-Kahf without Surah Al-Isra. The 2 surahs are locked together like sisters. And so on the 11th day, He gives us one surah, An-Nahl, so that on the 12th day we recite Al-Isra and Al-Kahf, and Allah knows best. So we have two, first manzil at 7, second manzil at 11. And then on the 12th day we recite Al-Isra and Al-Kahf, and on the 13th day we recite Maryam and Taha, and on the 14th day we recite Al-Anbiya and Al-Hajj, and on the 15th day Surah Al-Mu'minun and Surah Al-Nur. But on the 15th day, another manzil. Surah Al-Nur is another manzil for us. Because when the 14th day has come to an end, and the 15th has commenced, it is the full moon. Full moon, the Urdu language, Chaudhary-Kachan, the full moon. And the full moon is a thing of great beauty. When the full moon comes, we are supposed to reflect. Where does it get its light from? Answer: the moon gets its light from the sun. And when the moon is totally exposed to the sun, and the earth is not in between the two, then you get a full moon. But the moon is spinning around the earth, and as a consequence of spinning around the earth according to Allah's plan, that's how you see the moon growing in size until it becomes a full moon, and then declining in size. This is a precise system of movement which has never altered an inch all through creation. Time never moves faster. It is our perception of time moving faster. But the full moon is also the time of pure light. And this is why Allah gives the Surah An-Nur, the Surah of light, on the 15th day. And as we recite Surah An-Nur, we are conscious of another manzil. Number 7, number 11, number 15, 3. Half the month is now gone, and half the month remains. And then comes the 21st day, and yet another manzil. But when the 21st day comes, remember, he raised his hands like this. He said 10, and then 10. So the second third has ended, and now only 1/3 remains when the 21st day comes. This is important all through the year. But this is particularly important in the month of Ramadan. Why? Because Allah sent down the Quran in Ramadan. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. And he sent down the whole Quran in a particular night of Ramadan. إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَاهُ فِي لَيْلَةِ الْقَدْرِ. And that night, for Allah, since it was on that night that he sent down the Quran, this is a night which he celebrates. It's a night of divine celebration, the night of Qadr. And he sends down the angels, and he sends down the Ruh, Jibreel alayhi salam, on that night. Min kulli amr. Min kulli amr. Why does he send them down? Perhaps the most important reason is that his servants are asking. We make dua. This one may be asking for a Mercedes-Benz motor car, but this one is begging Allah for knowledge. Rabbi zidni ilma. This one has debt. Oh Allah, help me, I want to get out of debt. This one, his mother is stricken with cancer. She is dying and he is dying when he sees her dying. This one is in a marriage and the marriage is falling apart and there are all these little children. And he is going through hell here on earth. And they're all making dua, dua, dua. And this is the night when Allah sends down the angels and the ruh. And this is the night when you can get what you've been asking for. So you better be careful that you make sure. He said that Laylatul Qadr, look for it in the odd nights of the last 1/3. 21, 23, 25, 27, 29. So each of these odd nights you make your dua for what you're asking for all through the year. Because this night is better than all the nights of the year. All. Indeed more than that. This night is better than a whole lifetime. خَيْرٌ مِّنْ أَلْفِ شَهْرٍ. So what a foolish person that is. When the angel comes to give you what you've been asking for, the angel discovered you started Ramadan on the wrong day. Yes. The schoolboy started Ramadan on the wrong day. He said, no, we have to follow the moon which is seen in Timbuktu, or the moon which is seen in Argentina, or the moon which is seen in Saudi, and forget the moon which is above your head. And so nothing, because you started Ramadan on the wrong day. Wait and you'll see. You don't have to listen to me. Wait and you'll see. And so on the 21st day he gives us Suratul Fussilat. Another manzil. And guess what he says in Suratul Fussilat? إِنَّ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا رَبُّنَا اللَّهُ ثُمَّ اسْتَقَامُوا. Surely those who proclaim our Rabb is Allah, ثُمَّ اسْتَقَامُوا, and then they remain firm to that. What is firmness? Allah gave to this ummah a mission. This is the mission. If it is right, if it is just, stand up for it, regardless of the price you have to pay. And if it is wrong, if it is unjust, if it is evil, if it is a monstrous lie, stand up against it, regardless of your price that you have to pay. That is istiqamah. Why is it that Malcolm X, who never went to Al-Azhar University, why is it that Malcolm has to teach this ummah what it is to be firm? Why? And the ummah like marshmallows. No, Sheikh, I can't do that. They put my name on a no-fly list. Can't do that. My business will collapse. My business is more important than Rabbuna Allah. So Allah says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا رَبُّنَا اللَّهَ ثُمَّ اسْتَقَامُوا. On these people, on the night of Qadr, تَتَنَزَّلُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ. The angel will come down upon them on this night, because they have been firm, standing up for Allah, regardless of the price they have to pay. No, Sheikh, we left Kashmir to come to Britain to live the good life. And we don't want to go back there, so we don't want to do anything that will jeopardize the good life in Britain. Okay, that's it. You betrayed Allah and His Messenger, and you betrayed the truth. Yeah. You could never be a Malcolm. The angels come down to say, Allah takhafu wa la tahzanu. Don't worry, you don't have any need to grieve and to fear. We will take care of you. we will protect you. You stand up for the truth, we will protect you. نَحْنُ أَوْلِيَاؤُكُمْ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. But the angels do something more than that. وَبَشْرٍ إن الذين قالوا ربنا الله ثم استقاموا تتنزل عليهم الملائكة لا تخافوا ولا تحزنوا وأبشروا بالجنة التي كنتم توعدون. The angels come to give you the good news that you're going to Jannah. Imagine this is in the Quran. You get the good news you're going to Jannah. Of course, it's not going to be conveyed in words. It'll be conveyed in a feeling in the heart, a sakina in the heart. And when you get that sakina in your heart, you're fearless. This is the 21st day. And Allah marks it with Suratul Fussilat. And then comes the 23rd day and the last manzil. Why? Because there's only 1 week left in the month. Only 1 week left. And this 23rd day is important because momentous change will take place in the sky in this last week. What is the change that will take place in the sky? Children who grew up in the modern age, they never look to the sky. They only have their smartphones. But you who grew up in Pakistan, in Egypt and so on, you will look in the sky and you will see that in the last week of the month, the moon will eventually disappear and the stars will take over from the moon. Starlight will replace moonlight. So in the last week, on the 23rd day, Allah gives us Suratul Najm, the surah of the star, followed by Suratul Qamar, the surah of the moon. And praise is due to Allah. Suratul Qamar, and Suratul Najm, and then Suratul Qamar. To prepare us now for the momentous change in the sky, when starlight will now replace moonlight. But there's another message in the last week of the month. Every month. There's another message in the last week of the month, when starlight replaces moonlight. And that is that you have to recite the Quran in order to prepare yourself to study the Quran. You have to recite the Quran in order to prepare yourself to study the Quran. And this is why we recited to you from Suratul Waqi'ah. فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِمَوَاقِعِ النُّجُومِ. And I take an oath by the positions in which the stars are located. فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِمَوَاقِعِ النُّجُومِ وَإِنَّهُ لَقَسَمٌ لَوْ تَعْلَمُونَ عَظِيمٌ. And this is a tremendously important oath. إِنَّهُ لَقُرْآنٌ كَرِيمٌ. This is a book, this is a Quran which is noble. And if you are attached to this Quran, it will make you noble. And this is a Quran which is generous. It keeps on giving and giving and giving. Fi kitabin maknoon, and it is in a book which is protected. La yamassuhu illa al-mutahharun. And if you want to study this Quran, you have to study the way you study the stars. On Saturday, at the University of London, if you go to my YouTube channel, Imran Hosein, you will see the flyer, I will lecture on this subject. Methodology for study of the Quran, and the topic is Dajjal, the Quran and the Jasad, to show you how to connect the verses of the Quran the way you connect the stars. And this is why Allah ends on the 23rd day with Surah Al-Najm and then Surah Al-Qamar. And when the 29th day has come to an end, we then look for the moon. And if the moon is seen, then the month will end. But if the moon is not seen, the month will end, and therefore we only have a little bit of the Quran to finish. A few small surahs. And if the moon is not seen, then on the 30th day, you have just a little portion to complete the Quran. So Allah knows that at the end of the month you are tired. The moon is old, the month is old, and you are tired. So He gives you short surahs. In the beginning of the month, however, when the 29th day of Shaban has come to an end, if you do not see the moon, then the day which follows is called the day of Shak, the day of doubt, and you are prohibited from fasting on that day. I was in Britain at the beginning of Ramadan, last Ramadan, and the moon was not seen anywhere in Britain, yes, and there were those who chose not to obey the command of the Prophet ﷺ, that you are prohibited from fasting on the day of Shak. And they say, no, we got an announcement from Saudi Arabia, and so we are fasting. They are wrong and they are misguided. And they will know about their misguidance when they are unable to change their heart. You can't lie to your own heart. No. That you will continue to perceive time moving faster and faster. You are imprisoned in that time moving faster and faster, while the rest of us who accept that we must look for the moon above us, because Allah has deliberately given us a lunar system of time which cannot be universalized, in order to make it impossible for Dajjal to achieve his universal system of time. We pray that Allah may put into your hearts to return to the moon. When you ask, how old are you? You will answer, Allah says that He gave us the moon and the manazil of the moon, لِتَعْلَمُوا عَدَدَ السِّنِينَ, that you may use the moon to count the years. So how old are you? You will say, with the moon. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may bless you to now recite the Quran as Allah has ordered that it be recited. رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ وَتُبْ عَلَيْنَا يَا مَوْلَانَا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ التَّوَّابُ الرَّحِيمُ بِرَحْمَتِكَ يَا أَرْحَمَ الرَّاحِمِينَ. Ameen. Do you have any questions? Yeah, the books are outside. Any questions? Yeah? Why did I not give you the Jews for the 16th day and the 17th day? Yeah, I've done that in my book. Yeah, but this is my opinion. You can choose as you wish. Yeah, the book is now finished today, the first draft, and I've given the Jews for every single day. Yes. What I should have said is that every time you recite the Jews, you must begin with Surah Al-Fatiha. Every time, every day. Yes, go ahead.
So my question is obviously
Oh, you're talking about the chronological sequence of the revelation.
Yes, so what
the chronological sequence is this one came down first,
right,
and this one came down second. and this one came down last. This is the chronological sequence of revelation. But Allah has not arranged the Quran according to the chronological sequence. Rather, He's arranged the Quran as surahs in His wisdom.
So the original compartment.
Oh, I see. So it was Omar who decided that Baqarah... No, wait a minute. It was... Wait a minute, please. Wait a minute.
I'm waiting.
It was Omar and Abu Bakr, Siddiq and Usman. They are the ones who said that Al-Baqarah must come first. And they are the one who said that Ali Imran must come second. Is this arrangement from them or from Allah?
That's what I'm trying to understand.
I'm telling you, before you answer, this arrangement is from Allah.
Okay.
Allah is the one, and He communicated to Jibreel alayhi salam, and Jibreel alayhi salam commanded the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. And so the arrangement of the Quran that we now have with the surahs, 114 surahs, and the boundaries that were built, or the walls, it all came from Allah, not from Abu Bakr and Umar and so on. No. That's the answer, yeah.
Shall we say?
The Quran was already compiled, the Quran was completely finished in the lifetime of the Prophet ﷺ. If you're talking about a Quran, it is recorded in writing, and putting the writing together, that is an unimportant part of the subject. This is the Quran here. The Quran is a recitation, and the recitation is completed. The recitation is completed. The recording of the recitation in writing is a different matter, but this is the Quran.
So your issue
I spoke with simplicity and with clarity. I could not have spoken with more simplicity and more clarity. You are confused, that is your problem, not mine. Sorry.
I'm not saying I'm confused.
I have spoken and I have explained the subject with simplicity and with clarity. Yes. When you hear the recording, you'll see the whole lecture was delivered with simplicity and clarity.
I'm not arguing it was simple there. I'm just trying to...
Can you explain to me what is the problem? I'm not able to understand the problem.
So obviously...
No. The boundaries that we have in the Quran are correct.
Okay.
I don't know what Tom, Dick and Harry did. What Allah did is correct.
Yeah.
Allah did. Allah separated the Quran in surahs. Some unknown person, we don't know who he is, decided that the first Jews must stop at 141 of Surah Al-Baqarah, and I say that is wrong. But I said, if you feel that is correct, continue. I'm not stopping you. You can continue. But if you believe that reciting the Quran that way will remove from your heart this perception of time moving faster and faster, you're whistling in the wind. It's not going to do it, no.
My question was answered. So my question was answered. It was just the first part where you explained the chronological order and the separation, which basically finalized the answer. So it's still clear. You answered the question.
Your accent is difficult for me to understand. The accent. Any more questions? Any more questions? Yeah.
You have to think, and then you can understand for thinking.
I can't understand the accent. Yeah.
It's very.
Translation is asking.
No, this lecture has completely nothing, zero to do with anything concerning translation. We are only concerned with the Quran, and when you're reciting the Quran, you shouldn't have any translation there with you at all. If you don't understand what you're reciting, never mind. Keep on reciting, but at the same time you should study to understand. But keep on reciting, don't stop to check the meaning. No. Keep on reciting until you are able to recite and also understand. Don't stop. Yeah. No more questions? This face is familiar.
We spoke many times. I've been to many of the lectures.
It's a link.
From the Caribbean?
Yes. Yeah, well,
Jamaica?
which is really, that's the one.
Jamaica, okay. I'm from Trinidad. Your face is familiar. Any other questions? If not, yeah.
It's sort of similar to this.
Yeah. We are ourselves, this ummah of Nabi Muhammad ﷺ, we have also abandoned the moon. We have abandoned the moon, yeah. Everybody, when you ask how old are you, no one will give his age. No one will give his age with the moon. Everybody will give your age with the sun. There is a proof that we've abandoned the moon. As a consequence today, this ummah is in the mess in which it is. The Arabs changed the lunar calendar, they corrupted it, in order to bring the moon to the sun. وَجُمِيَ الشَّمْسُ وَالْقَمَرُ. So every third year they will add an extra month. So Ramadan will also always come in the summertime. Okay? And Allah responded to that in the Quran in Surah At-Tawbah. إِنَّمَا النَّسِيُّ زِيَادَةٌ لِلْكُفْرِ. Yes. This nasi, this corruption of the system of time is the road that leads to increasing kufr. By adding an extra month every 3 years. To take the lunar calendar and bring it to the solar calendar so that the month of Ramadan will always be in the summertime. Then a Roman Catholic Pope in Rome, Pope Gregory, he did something exactly the same. He took the lunar calendar to make it reach the solar calendar. Because with the solar calendar you can have a universal system of time. You cannot do it with the lunar calendar. So he said now a month can have 31 days. Someone should have sent him to jail for that. Someone should have sent him to jail for that. And then we all accepted it. Nobody questioned it. Not even the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. Not even the Islamic Republic of Iran. Nobody questioned it. A month can have 31 days. Yes, that's what the Pope said. And we accepted it. A month can have 30 days, a month can have 29 days, a month can even have 28 days, said the Pope. The Pope is always right. And as a consequence of that, this universal system of time was accepted by the whole ummah. Whole ummah. And I am writing this book to try to stop it and to explain to people, this is the price that you pay for abandoning the moon. That you have the perception of time moving faster and faster, and you cannot lie to your own heart. No, you cannot lie to your own heart. Once you perceive time moving faster and faster, the implication is that your heart is no longer beating in harmony with the system of time. You're on the road of kufr, greater and more kufr. We are the only people, those who are faithful to the Quran. I don't know how many there are who are faithful to the Quran, who now will return to the moon for the system of time. Maybe 1 in 1,000, only 1 in 1,000 will do that. But it is astonishing to me that I'm in contact with Hindus, I'm in contact with Christians, with Orthodox Christians, I have contact with others as well. And the whole of the rest of the world, all have abandoned the moon. All. Only those in the Ummah of Nabi Muhammad ﷺ who remain faithful to the Quran, we are the only people left in the world. The only people who can call mankind back to lunar time. And this is the purpose of today's lecture. And also, you come on Saturday, inshallah, here at the University of London. University of East London at 7 o'clock? 7 o'clock, inshallah. And I pray that these words of mine will reach from you to others as well. Any other questions? Yeah?
When is the book going to be done?
From Jamaica? From where? Tanzania? MashaAllah. MashaAllah. 3 young men from Dar es Salaam took the ferry and came to Zanzibar to meet me. And I taught them for 4 days. I have never met brighter students than these. MashaAllah for Tanzania. Yes, yes. What is the question?
When is the book going to be finished?
The first draft finished today. The first draft. But when you're writing a book, Allah Ta'ala doesn't have first draft or second draft. No. Me, I have to have first draft and second draft and third draft and so on. But this book at this time is 98 pages. You can expect it to cost 100, inshallah. Give me a little time to complete the second and third draft. And alhamdulillah, we have a lot of offers from people who offer to help to pay. So we print the book for free distribution. Free distribution, yeah. We can't wait for people to buy the book. Yes, free distribution. So it had to be printed in large numbers. And many people have come forward to say, yes, we'll help you. Okay, the books at the back. If you'd like to get any books, you can bring them to me and I can autograph them for you. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين آمين.